here, and I have with me a special guest, the current writer on The Flash, and as well as a bunch of other Warner Brothers and DC animated related projects, Mr. Jeremy Adams. Thank you so
Hello.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm glad to
Yep.
be here.
Yep. Well, like, let's just dive right in. What got you into working in comics and television?
I was really interested in film. When I graduated high school, I didn't know that working in film was kind of a viable career course, and I still don't know if it is a viable career course. But I was like, I'm going to become a federal marshal or something. And I remember orientation at college. I was going to go into criminal justice administration, but I was really into film. Made films with my friends, and loved comic books, all this stuff growing up. And I was at orientation. This lady comes up from the film department. She's talking about the film department. I'm looking around like, what? Like there's a film department? And I immediately dumped my folder into the trash and and then moved out here and just tried to break in. And it was really my first opportunity. Really came from a mentor and friend of mine, Jim Krieg, who put me on Green Lantern the animated series.
Right.
But,
love that series. I wish it didn't get ended so soon.
It was great, and it was also gut wrenching, which is why it was so great.
Oh yeah.
But like I grew up. My dad drew some comics in the '70s for DC and the '80s. He did some Captain Atom. He did some Ghosts. So like in my head, not very many, but it was like I grew up with superheroes. That was like my thing, and I think because my parents divorced very young, it was like I also wanted to be like, this is what he's into, so I need to get into this so that we can communicate.
Right.
But anyways, love comics. Way too many comics in my life. Like when I got married, my wife's like, we need to find better spots for these long boxes.
Oh, trust me, you see my long box collection, like I had to put a bunch of them on my bookshelf. I'm still not empty. Hell, within the past year, I've already filled up a new long box of the new comics that I buy so many.
It's a problem. It's an addiction, right? So then I got into that and started doing animation, and I feel very grateful about it because they've been giving me, I've gotten a lot of opportunity at Warner Brothers, so it's great because I've been able to do a ton of DC stuff, and predominantly, with Justice League Action, which I think is kind of like all around.
Oh yeah, that was great.
It was amazing. It was an amazing opportunity to work with Alan Burnett and Jim and Butch and all these people that I would go on to work with later. And then after that, I started doing a bunch of Lego stuff, which there's this really fun Lego DC universe outside of the mega Lego Batman. But there's a really fun Lego movies. There's one, a newer one I did called Lego Batman Family Matters. It's on HBO now. Lego Flash was one of the first ones I ever did. The Lego DC superhero girls stuff. So yeah, I got started in there, and then eventually I would talk about martial arts way more than anybody wants to know about. And I would always go into a meeting, and Jim would be like, "Don't talk about Cynthia Rothrock. Like, don't talk." But I was obsessed with.
Oh, I love Cynthia.
Me too. And I was obsessed with DC martial arts. Like, I love DC martial arts, and because they're so well defined. Like Chuck Dixon did it, and then Gail Simone did it, and they really, I felt like Birds of Prey really explored that.
Oh yeah.
So when they said, "Oh, we want to do a Mortal Kombat movie," it was kind of like, "Oh, well, we gotta go to Jeremy," And then it was also, I think, when Bruce, exactly, Mortal Kombat: Scorpion's Revenge, and it was also at the same time, Bruce Timm. I'd been pitching a Batman Enter the Dragon for a while.
Oh, you're talking about.
And Batman Soul of the Dragon. And so Bruce, I guess, separately had pitched something like that. And so we ended up getting together. That was one of my favorite projects I've ever done.
Oh, that was so fresh. It was like an Elseworld, but not an Elseworld kind of a thing.
That's right. And then from there, so I started getting a little more adult stuff. And meanwhile, we had done the Scooby-Doo Supernatural crossover, Scooby Natural, which was a big success.
Oh, yeah, that was...
Yeah, and then I got the opportunity to go work on Supernatural for a season, which was fantastic. So, it's been kind of a weird road because I was, a stay-at-home dad for a while because I had no work and a little baby, and just trying to piece together work, and then suddenly, slowly, it started coming in, and I think, like anything, people look at you and go, "Are you reliable? Are you nice to work with?" And if you are, then I think you get more opportunities. So I'm really grateful for the ones I've had, and then there was the whole 5G thing.
The 5G thing.
And Dan Didio called in a bunch of animation writers, and I thought, this is it. This is going to be. I wanted to write comics my entire life. This is going to be the opportunity, and then it didn't happen.
Oh, I know that Brandon Viti, I believe, got the Flash.
Who is the producer and writer and stuff on Young Justice, who also produced the first Flash Lego that I co-wrote. So we know each other really well. And then my friend Tim Sheridan, who does Teen Titans Academy, I think my editor, Mike Cotton, had said something to him, and he's like, "Oh, you should talk to Jeremy." And so Cotton got on the phone with me, and he started asking me if I had ideas for the Flash, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, here! I have this idea." Thank you, Crimson Prince, and hello, Nerd It's Newsstand. Yes.
Yep. She has a good question.
Titles at DC. We shall see. I'm begging them, honestly.
Seriously, I see a big future for you. I see a big future. Your writing reminds me when Williamson started on Flash. It feels like if you're able to make it big, then that'll mean the Flash is the perfect gateway character. Forget Batman. It's the Flash.
Well, I think the Flash is such a unique character in terms of you can really go anywhere with him. And that's what kind of makes him, and I said this early on, thank you, is that I really look at him like I love the Doctor Who-ness of it. Like you can go far afield and do really crazy cosmic stuff and then come back home and do other stuff. And I think it's, again, I'm just learning this. I'm not even a year into writing comics. So I feel like I'm still figuring it out.
Could have fooled me. It felt like you were coming off like such a natural.
Thank you very much. But I am trying to make kind of a throwback, kind of wholesome adventure. Anybody could pick it up. Like my 10-year-old can pick it up. Not my 10-year-old. My 10-year-old self could pick it up. My daughter can actually read it, and it's fun. And that's the point. I want it to be fun, and I'm hoping people will buy it because my sinister plan is I want to do it. I want to do it twice monthly. That's my thing.
Oh, nice! Try to get that going again.
Or I would love to do like the main Flash, and then do like a Flash family book or something.
Oh,
would be really cool. It all comes down to sales. Like if the Flash sells really well, I think that's a more reasonable ask. But one thing Williamson did and that I really love is that he brought in a lot of speedsters, and I feel like I want to tell stories with those speedsters. I want Wally and Wallace to have a relationship too. I want to bring in
Wallace, yes.
Bell and Max and Jay and all that stuff, but I want to do it so it doesn't feel like it's all crammed together.
Right. You want it to be natural. You want it to be organic.
Yes. Nerdit asked, any father-son moments like we got with this last daughter issue? It was so adorable. Thank you. I wrote that with my daughter, so that's going to be one of my prized possessions in my entire life. Yes. There's going to be, I want to focus on Jay and his lack of powers and what that means and some of that going forward in a very fun way. By the way,
of course,
not like a serious way. I'm not with this book. I'm not. And maybe Cotton doesn't like this, but
no.
I'm not going to be. It's not going to be maudlin. Like my book's not going to be dark.
That's good. That's a relief. That is a relief.
That's kind of my the way that I look at it. Wally is the Ted Lasso of comic books, right? It's kind of how I look at it. Who knows? Maybe it depends.
Right.
if the ratings, if the sales tank, then
good point. You don't want that.
Jeremy. Let's see. Will we see the return of Pied Piper in your run? He turned anti-hero and was friends with Wally and pre-fit. Yeah, I do know that.
Yep. Good question.
That is not something I am going to address yet, but it is
Down
something that is somewhere back here.
Right.
So there's a bunch of those characters. Somebody asked me the other day. I started streaming on Twitch, because I play games with my brother, and it's just us screaming at each other generally. But I was playing by myself, and somebody's asking me about Zoom and Reverse Flash and stuff. And there's a lot of characters that I think have been around a lot. Oh, we'll get to Gold Beetle, and I want to introduce them a little organically, or
right.
the way I want to introduce them in a way.
Especially after Williamson reset Reverse Flash finally.
Right. I mean, he did so much with it that I can't just jump into it right away.
Right. Oh, I agree, because I know some writers would, but sometimes it's like, give it breathing room. Yeah. There's a reason why Williamson took him off the board. He's too deadly. He's too powerful.
Yeah, that's what I feel. And I need to have a good story to bring him back with. I just don't want him to come back willy-nilly. I want him to come back.
Right. Like there's a reason.
Gold Beetle, I came up with Gold. Oh, thank you. I came up with Gold Beetle, and Fernando Passarin helped design him for Black Adam Future State that we did.
Yep, designed her, yeah.
I love Ted Cord Blue Beetle like an obscenely amount. Like behind me, I like homemade. Look at this. This is so stupid. But like I made a homemade like bug. Like removable. I got like
nice.
So it's made out of like homemade. Like I love Blue Beetle. And I love Blue Beetle. The Justice League International was one of the most formative books for me growing up, and I love their friendship and stuff. And so I created this character that basically, years in the future, their family,
two families,
kind of combined, and she is rambunctious, and she is like a Red Bull energized version of David Tennant's Doctor Who, and and I love her. So not only did we get her in Black Adam Future State, which she was kind of formative in fixing or helping. Right. Then when Wally jumped into Bart, we get her. And then obviously at the end of annual number 1, we allude to her in the future. And so
actually it was, wasn't it this one, 771, where you alluded to it?
Oh, is it 7? Well, yes. No, in 771, we talk about how Jay's dating her. And
which hinted off in the Bart stuff where it's like, oh, he's so hot. It's like, wait, what?
And I love that because I think it's super funny. She's like, oh, not what he's not that age when I met him. Like I met him when he was an adult, and and then to have her be like, oh, she's such.
I love Iris. She's like, she's giving you an ulcer. It's like, this is my favorite sequence though.
Oh, thank
Everything with Iris right there. Just make it very clear. You're taking the characters that were clear that Jeff Johns obviously brought in, but they were from Mark Waid's The Kingdom. But you're definitely making this is the total opposite of The Kingdom, where in that one. I love Mark Waid, but that was way too dysfunctional.
Well, I mean, listen, that was what they wanted to do. I want to do this, and for as long as you let me, I think it's fun because listen, as a dad, the idea that I could see my daughter and she tells me everything's okay, and I love that people are trying to figure out like, who is she engaged to? And
is it someone that's going to be an original character, an established character? What's going on?
I mean, I have thoughts, but we'll see what I can.
You leave it open, and hey, given how time's always flowing, this might not even be canon in the future.
Right. That is true. The way that sometimes DC sketches the universe, it's like, well, who knows?
Next crisis throws a hand grenade into the room.
Right. So so there was that, and then there's a picture of her at the end of the annual where he's running, and we see the mysterious spear thing that's flying. That's in the picture too, and then she's in the picture. So I've kind of like mapped out what I want to do for a significant portion of time. And
Nice.
it's so hard though, because it's like, oh, I can only do one, there's only one of these a month. And it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
As somebody that wants to read the story I'm writing, it's like,
yeah.
oh, but I want to do more fast.
You want to get it out. Oh
yeah.
I agree. You should be able to get it all, because how many others like Tinian and King were able to get all their Batman issues out, so their story all out within 1 year, compared to Williamson, who had to wait for each issue.
I know. I just met him for the first time, actually.
Oh, really?
And he could not be a nicer human being.
Oh, yeah. I mean, seriously, he's become one of my favorites. I'm putting him right up there with Jeff Johns now. Yeah. And with you, like I said, you're up to when he first started in my eyes. And that is,
wow, that's very sweet. That's very sweet. I got to meet Jeff too. And that's, listen, as a fanboy, like it's overwhelming to meet some people, and I remember, because I go to Comic-Con every year, and I remember being in the audience, and I still have my like Court of Owls mask.
Oh, nice.
And just thinking, oh man, I hope that I can be on the other side of that thing. And then when you get on the other side of that thing, it's so much fun, and people are so nice and so kind, and just meeting people like Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda, like who I adore, like in terms of their ability, and that's been one of the amazing side of it. Like, forget the fact that they're insanely letting me write a book a month. Like,
right.
You get to meet your heroes,
Yeah, definitely. That's why I want to get into comics one day.
Yeah, and like Jam DeMatteis, like.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Or like, Dan Jurgens.
And Jam, I've met a couple times, and I mean, if you're not following him on Twitter, first of all, like a font of wisdom, and second of all, here's a guy who's had the longest career, and it's not just comic books; it's television and DTVs and all this cool stuff, and he's just so great. He's just so great. Sorry, we totally derailed. So whatever.
It's all right. It's all right. But yeah, I was gonna say, with the Heat Wave story arc, what gave you the idea of having it be one that was made of asbestos? I don't know if they ever made that clear.
That was Cotton. That was my editor, and he was like, that was a deep cut. It was like made of asbestos, and I was like, oh, what? And so we knew there was like a good emotional piece to mine from that, and it fit well. It fit well with what I hope to do with the Flash in general, is to do a couple issues that are more grounded with family and work and all that stuff, and then launch off into a few issues of like some crazy whatever, and then come back and do that again. That was my favorite way of watching television, like on Buffy, Buffy X-Files. It was like there's a much larger arc that you deal with, but then you would come back and there'd be like a one-off episode.
The breezers.
And some people don't like that. I get it, but I like it. I like that in comic books. I feel like you have to have these launching on points. So with the Heat Wave thing, it was a great opportunity to kind of see where Wally is right now.
Yep.
And the fact that he's been gone, the fact that Linda's there, the fact that like, I know. That he's got kids. That is something that I think Johns and Wade and everybody explored. Like, he's not a billionaire. He needs and I really am enjoying Mr. Terrific.
Oh, and that was a great choice. Great choice.
I hope that I can. I hope I can use him a little more, because I really am liking him. I'm obviously not writing him as maybe as unfeeling as some people have him written.
I think there's some people write him unfeeling. There's others who do have it be where it's like, okay, now that we're low, and he's a bit more open when he's private with people. I've noticed
he has this incredibly tragic backstory. With kid dying, and so the problem is that I like I said, everything's another story that I want to start doing. What other characters do you want to introduce or reintroduce?
Yeah, good question.
After Wally finds his footing. I have a lot of ideas revolving around what I'd want to do with the Rogues. And
that's a good
you
question.
still have those light speed energy bars.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised if those things went out of business.
No, you know what? I should write in there that there's a pending lawsuit. I mean, it should be like, I drink so many energy drinks, and everybody's like, these aren't good for you. And I'm like, oh, I
just imagine with those energy bars. Imagine the energy bars being like that. Or you get to be, they changed the formula, and that's leading to the lawsuit. Because that'd be a good way to explain why wasn't it a problem before. Because it was more safe. Now it's not, and they always be like, oh, great! I was hoping for that check.
Well, okay. So I heard you heard it here first. So I want to introduce and reintroduce. There are a couple characters. I can't talk about it now because
obviously
will be revealed. But it revolves around what's going on at Terrific Tech, and so there's some stuff that the scientists and Wally are working on to. Almost.
You almost. Nice exclusive.
And then there's some stuff around Gold Beetle that I'm hoping I'm able to execute that will also introduce characters as well. So
here's the one question I want to ask.
Yeah.
Now, Tim Sheridan worked especially with he's doing Teen Titans Academy, and it's clearly with his Shazam stuff. He's playing off of that what was done in Future State to a degree, especially where you ended. Was that meant to lead into what he's doing with the Rock of Eternity and all that? Or was?
So Tim and I and
I'm trying to make sense of that chronologically. How, if it's in the future, how did it affect the Rock of Eternity in the present, or is that like a constant where it's always existing and all that?
Well, you got to read Tim's
Shazam. Because he hasn't said it yet, because that's what's confusing me. It's
did you read Shazam 3?
I read through it, but I might have missed stuff. So if I missed anything,
the end of Shazam 3?
Oh, yep. That even blew my mind more. So I'm like, wait.
So I think Shazam 4 will bring some of that to light. So Tim and I are really good friends. I think we talk every day, and we came up in Justice League Action together and other Warner Brothers properties. So
to be a Murphy, just to point out, technically she's been back. There's been the new 52 version of her, and I'm pretty sure that's probably been merged in with what other version? Golden Glider?
Oh, Golden Glider. Gosh.
Yeah, I'm like, technically she's been...
There's so many characters in the Flash universe.
Yeah.
Everybody has their favorite. So trying to figure out how to...
Yeah. Okay, but you were saying, yeah.
So the Future State stuff, the Future State stuff was basically... In terms of the Black Adam Future State, we talked about that because that involves what's happening in Teen Titans Academy, I think, and Shazam. And so that's Tim's story to tell. I just kind of told what will happen in the future if that still comes to fruition.
Gotcha.
So
I gotcha.
You can read Teen Titans Teen Titans Future State and see that it revolves around the
Red Axe and all that.
Which is, a character that I created for Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. Was a manifestation of, Raven with absorbing all the other Ravens. So, anyways, we're getting lost.
Yeah.
The point being that Tim will explain all that. And
all right.
You should pick up his books.
I have.
I am leaving. Wally's not going to be.
Well, he's definitely not going to go down the route from his Future State book.
No. I love Brandon, but I don't think that's going to be.
I was hoping that was one of those.
Bye, Edward.
Yep. Oh, see ya, Edward. But I gotta say, that was one of the ones where I'm like, was that a holdover from 5G or something? Because that just felt too much like.
It might have been. I don't know. I haven't really talked to him about it, but one of the things that I wanted to do, and it is both a promise and a threat, is like I said, like, listen, as long as I'm writing Wally, he's gonna be okay. And it's like,
I think all the fans agree with you, because they've been wanting Wally back, and I'm so glad editorial's letting Wally be the Flash again.
Me too.
But still keep Barry relevant. But
I think Barry. I think like I said, it would be so cool to have 2 Flash books. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it would be cool
Yeah.
to be able to do a Barry book and then do a Wally book, or do a Wally book and do a Flash family book. I think there's enough room. You know, again, it comes down to sales. It all comes down to sales, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I really hope people buy these books, because it will either extend or not extend the life of characters.
Sorry, Murphy just brought up, you gonna wash your hands? No, because I'm evil.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the JLU was an incredible series, and
definitely
for them to be able to let me do a kind of like, you know,
oh yeah,
a little of that humor and style in my Super Friends issue,
right?
That the Legion of Supervillains, and the fact that they let Kevin Maguire, which, you know, it's a dream come true.
That was great.
It
But
came out so well. It came out so well. Oh, sorry. Okay, Justice Society.
Yeah, I want to ask. Is this supposed to be like the way Flash was handled it here? Is this like, I'm trying to understand, is this all part of a new continuity? Are they all done in ones? Are they all shared? Like, does this connect with Superman Man of Tomorrow, or?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm like to me, it's the same voiceover guy. You know,
I'm trying to make sense out of it all, because you know the way the other timeline ended. I'm like, so are they no longer doing a consistent linear universe, or is it now going to be a new redo, or are they going to pick and choose? What's going on?
I think the best way to describe this is all will be revealed.
All right, no problem.
I you know, obviously, Justice Society is a different world than Batman Soul of the Dragon.
Oh, obviously.
But you can tell from Man of Tomorrow, Justice Society, Batman Long Halloween 1 and 2. It's butch, and it's the art style is the same.
So it's just a redo of the other one that started from Justice League War all the way up to, or from Flashpoint all the way up to Dark Apocalypse War or whatever.
Multiverse. I can neither confirm nor deny, because if you follow Gary Mariano on Twitter, he will. I have a bomb in the back of my neck, much like Amanda Waller.
Oh no!
Inside the Suicide Squad, and if I speak out of turn, it's like
I understand. Boom! Oh, geez, we don't want that.
But all that will be made clear. It's
all right.
There's a lot more movies coming.
I'm a continuity nut. That's why I'm asking, because
I understand. I've got some more movies coming out.
Nice.
Which I'm excited about next year, and it's gonna be really thrilling.
Yep. But I gotta say, with this, I love this. How was it working on this? Because I know they originally teased in the Teen Titans Go movie, oh, try and get us back. Was this their way, the way of throwing people a bone after that?
Well, the cool thing is, I was brought in. The heavy lifting was done by Marley Grazer.
Yep. I see the name here.
Yeah. And then Jeff Mendicow was the director on that project, and he and I got together and really, he's a perfectionist, and I think he really wanted to make this thing great. And so
it was. I
was just so glad to be able to help, and I added a lot of stuff revolving around Raven, and but I was such a big fan.
See you, Murphy.
As a fan, it's a really weird thing, because we're also reactionary. And I remember being such a fan of Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans.
Oh, yeah.
Cartoon. And I remember when I went to Teen Titans Go, and I was so like,
oh, you're one of those. You admit you're one of those. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was smart enough not to do it online, but I was like,
oh, yeah, obviously.
And then you watch it, and you go, this is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
But the same thing happened with, I remember being Batman Brave and the Bold. I remember going, what's this? Batman Brave and the Bold. And then suddenly you watch it, and you're like,
oh, yeah. Oh,
so good.
Birds of Prey song. The Birds of Prey song.
My favorite is the episode. Well, there's two favorites. One, Jim wrote a Brave and the Bold that had Blue Beetle that was voiced by Will Wheaton.
Oh, yeah.
But the cold open was with the haunted tank or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The tank jumps and it pauses and it's like, well, it looks like, and it was like the Duke boys. It was like, looks like
yes, I remember that.
Yeah. And then my other favorite one was the one where Batman and Steve Trevor are like trapped against.
Oh, yeah. What did she see in him?
And Steve Trevor's like, don't worry, my girlfriend's coming. He was like so happy, and then the Wonder Woman theme song kicks in. It's like do 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 do, and I was like, this is awesome.
I love that. What did she see in him?
It's so funny. And but reactionary was like, and then you're like, okay, this is great.
Yep. I would say with Teen Titans Go, it feels like the episodes where you could tell they actually they had time to write it are the ones I really like. The ones where you could tell, because from what I understand, they've chugged out episodes like crazy.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so funny. But
this I loved, and I hope we can get more with the original Titans back as well.
So good.
Yeah. Yep. You gotta get. If I know right, you have to get going soon, don't you? Or do you want to keep talking?
5 more minutes. 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. All right, that's good. So yeah, I mean, like I say, with Soul of the Demon, because this was so good. Once I start watching it, I watch through beginning to end, and lately with my work schedule, that doesn't always happen. So having a movie that captivated me from start to finish, loved it.
Wow.
I didn't know what was coming. I did not know what was going to come next.
Well, the cool thing, it was Jim, Bruce, and I in a room, and we just just bantered about this for a long, long time. And like I said, I'm a deep nut for DC martial arts stuff, and Shiva and Richard Dragon, who the fact that we got Mark Dacascos to voice him. I'm a huge, like when I met him, I was like, I'm a really big fan. And he was like, oh, thanks. I'm like, I don't think you understand. Like, the strong, crying Freeman, Brotherhood of the Wolf. He's like, oh, you really are. I'm like, I really Michael Jai White as Bronze Tiger, and Kelly Fu as Shiva. It's like, all those people could just.
She's been great as Shiva before.
Yeah, and they could all just like live action that story. The other thing was that, like I said, I was doing deep dives, and it was like, when you really get into DC wikis and stuff, and you start looking at, Katana's blade. In the history of the comics, there was a twin, and so I was like, well, let's make this the twin. Let's make this the twin blade, and let's use that, And I'm
an Elseworlds fan. That's what I loved about it. This felt like such an, it says right here, an Elseworlds adventure. And I love that, how there's no connection to continuity. Yeah. It kind of reminded me stuff like Thrill Killer and all that, where it's just more like the setting determines the story.
Yeah. And it's just a fun, fast-paced adventure. I mean, it's definitely the thing that's most in the vein of my sensibilities.
Right. I would say, though, if you had Black Canary, I would have loved Cynthia Rockford to voice her.
Oh my God.
That would have been, just imagine her doing an older, Dinah Drake instead of Dinah Lance.
I love her. I love her. But also the Black Canary we had, Alicia Rotaro, I think.
Oh yeah,
she's.
Oh yeah, she was great. Oh yeah, she was. I forgot there was Black Canary there. Yeah.
Broke my heart. Like I didn't even expect it to be that moving, and then she just got so much. That's the fun thing with all these voice actors. They're just unbelievable craftsmen.
Now, is this a done in one, or do you ever plan on doing more? Or there's a done in one?
I would love to do more, but I don't think it did well enough. But
and you kind of ended it on a bit of a closure, So
this is the funny thing. It's a '70s movie, and if you watch '70s movies, I'm a huge John Carpenter fan, and it's like those endings don't tell you what happened. If you watch The Thing, it's like I don't know what happened. It's like,
and then you had a comic follow up, which kind of totally threw everything out the window. You're like, I mean, the first follow up was good. The second one, where they're out in a warmer climate, you're like, oh.
I really would love to do another one. We talked about it. I was trying to push everybody. I wanted to do,
I would do like something in the
80s. Bat Out of Hell. That's what I wanted to call it, and I have an idea of what I'd want that to be, but. I don't think that's going to, I mean, I'm not going to do it probably.
Right. Well, one last thing to talk about before we wrap up was fixing heroes in crisis. And the fact that was one of the first things you did. Did you just knew you had to do that? Was that something that was told to do, or was it a bit of both?
No, I don't consider it, I have to be careful, but I don't necessarily think of it as fixing. I know that
obviously because people still die, but you at least gave better context to it that took away the problem.
I think it's what we were talking about earlier. It's like I love creating. The thing about the Flash is he moves so fast. The first thing that hit me was the phrase "blink of an eye." And I was thinking about, in the context of Heroes in Crisis, there's a moment in Heroes in Crisis that the Wally is basically covering up his murder.
Yep. Oh yeah, that
that we know.
Thanks to Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash, we find out later. But again, that's added information, right? But he does all that within a split second. And one of the things I think is interesting about these speedsters, because they can move so fast that that entire huge amounts of time can happen in a split second. And so that was a great way for me to think about, well,
moments between moments, moments
and like, well, what is this thing that did this thing? Like, could it be something else? And then as a writer, as a new writer, and a new writer that's writing Wally, it was, the whole quantum leaping and jumping into bodies was a real great way for people to kind of see the speedster universe in a way.
Oh yeah.
To give me a chance to really acclimate to who he is and what I think he should be. And I did know where it was going to lead. And I negotiated different parts of that as we went on.
Right, of course.
And I have to give Mike Cotton credit, because I wanted, there were characters I wanted to show up, and Cotton was very much like, I think Savitar would be really good here.
Oh, and that was a great choice. Kind of like Williams, kind of like what Williams did with Jeff Johns' run. That was like one of the last pieces from Flash Rebirth that kind of, I wouldn't say needed reversing, but was untapped.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what really happened to him? So.
Oh yeah. Who were the other speedster that got destroyed in the same time? What was her name? She was also one of his worshippers, but. Right. Hey, you could bring her back too.
I know. I mean, but that was fun to be able to do that. And gosh, the Flash. Yeah, this is the last thing I'll say about it. But the Flash universe is so complicated and thick, and it takes a lot to get up to speed. Sort of.
Absolutely last question. I know throughout your run you made it clear. Wally keeps on saying he's not tech literate. Is that a bit of a pot shot at Heroes in Crisis, where he was able to do all that computer stuff, even though he shouldn't be?
No, I mean, it wasn't technically a pot shot. I think that Wally is a little.
He never showed it before.
Right. I think Wally's a little self-deprecating generally, and I think that Wally. I think it's something Mr. Terrific said to him. It's like, bro, you've been it's the difference between like education, like you learned through education, and learned hands-on training. Like, you can go to school.
Like Irie said to him, this is on the job training.
Right. That's right. And that, by the way, I heard somebody criticize it. Was like, I can't believe he would like take his daughter on this thing. And I'm like,
it wasn't that serious of a threat compared to
others. By the way, does anybody say that about Batman? Are they going to exactly. Robin on this thing? But with him, I think he has so much practical knowledge, and I think I could have had him just working at a garage. I could have, but I think what Mr. Terrific, to me, logically, he's super intelligent, and he's like, you can do so much more. And you can do that if you want to do that. But the reality is you have an expertise from being around time travel and machines and space age stuff. Like, you just know stuff. So I would pay you to have you do that for me, and it's just more logical sense. So I mean, as a dad, somebody shows you a check and you're like, so you're telling me I can work here and still run off, and I can pay for my kids' medical bills. It's like, give me that check.
Exactly. Basically, he made it. It's working around Wally, which is something that Wally's not used to. I mean, come on. How many times has Hal lost jobs because he was out in space too long, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So, thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, I'm bored. Yep. And hey, who knows? Maybe next year I can have you on again after your first year is done.
That would be great. I would love that. I really appreciate the time.
Yep, no problem. Thank anyone that's still here. Thank you so much. And we'll see you all in the next one. Because tomorrow I'm gonna have Christy Marks on.
Oh, fun.
Yep. So